Hey guys, welcome to my in-depth Olaf guide. In this guide I'm going to be covering jungling, top lane, using Olaf in a lane which has a partnership, masteries, runes and build. Like I said, I'm going to be going pretty in-depth into all of these, so I'll have annotations so we can skip to certain parts if you only need certain parts, but I would ask you that you could watch the whole guide so I can get your full thoughts and things like that on it. But also I do think that will be a great help to some people who are either new to Olaf or like to extend their skills with Olaf, because he is a great champion and I feel that the information I have and with my experience I'll be able to help you when you're playing Olaf. So let's get into it. I'm going to start off with jungling. This is one of Olaf's strongest points and he does excel when he is jungling due to his different abilities helping out with this. To start off jungling, I start with a Vampiric Scepter. It gives a good amount of lifesteal when you're hitting your different jungling monsters, and I find that coupling this with his W, which helps him heal, is great because you don't ever have to use many potions and things like that. If you use the cloth armor and potions thing, it does tend to go a little bit slower, so I find the Vampiric Scepter is the more effective use when you're going to start jungling. I know you tend to start a blue, you can do it with or without a pull, but if you can get someone to do a pull and have you hit it, you will find that it is a lot quicker. So once you've done that, I pretty much do the normal run of just going down, but instead of going to red I go to the goblins first and then back to red, and then you can either choose to go back depending on how much money you have, etc., or you can go a little run through again and then go back. I take my W first, which is his heal. I then take my E, which you'll be using this mainly for when you're going for your ganks. I take another W and then I take a Q, which is his slow, and I find that at level 4, if there is an opportunity to gank at either top or any of the lanes, that you should do so at this point, because I think until you get to level 4 you're not particularly ready to do a gank unless they are really overextended. So in couple of that you can use that to your own advantage, but I do tend to not really gank until level 4. You can achieve this pretty quickly, so don't worry about having to not help your teammates in quick succession, because you are able to get a gank off at level 4, which doesn't take very long to get to. If you're looking to counter jungle, I would say that if you can catch the enemy at red or blue when they're trying to do it, you'll find that they're normally about a quite a low health, so if you can hit them with your your E straight away, you can just smash their health to pieces. So I find they're great pleasures to start counter jungling. But for people who don't counter jungle, you can still be very effective when you gank in the different lanes, and also just be aware that someone might be wanting to counter jungle you, but this is also very effective due to his passive. You can use your W, you can also use your E, and this is, well, I've had people try and counter jungle me before and then that turns upon themselves, because I've got quicker attack speed, I've got the vamp, and I've also got the healing, and I've also got the damage to put out. That's where Olaf does excel, so I find that if you're jungling he can be very, very strong. When it comes to Olaf, using him on top lane, he can be really, really effective, and this is how I tend to go about it. I take boots and 3 health potions, and you'll find out why once I explain the different mechanics of him. I start with an E, and then using these two coupled together, I then use this to punish the opponent in the low level stages. You'll find that when you're using Olaf, you'll be able to just hit the E, run back behind your minions out of sight of any of his minions, and you'll be able to just go back to normally farming. I find that once you've hit the E, the opponent seems more shocked that you've hit him with it, and for that amount of damage, that they either back off or they have some furious attempt at trying to kill you, which never really seems to work at all. So don't worry about that, you can just hit them with the E and then run back behind. I wouldn't advise going for any kill that's only level 1 as well. So hit them with the E, run behind, and then continue with your farming. At this point you're just going to be using your E to wear down your opponent and get that health as low as it possibly can, and this is just going to fuel your later abilities, and it's also going to make them either use their health potions or want to have to go back soon, which will just allow you to farm a bit more, and then therefore you're getting more of an advantage over your opponent as well. So he is very, very strong when it comes to this. So as I said, you're going to take your E and then you're going to take your W. Your W will allow you to heal, which therefore means when you're using your health to hit your E, your W can just heal while you're farming away. You're then going to take your E again, and this is going to make your main damage ability even stronger. And then after that, when you get to level 4, I tend to take my axe. and this is just going to help you so much when it comes to laning. What I like to do is I like to hit my E on my opponent, and then I take my axe and I throw it. And also, if once you get to this point, if the enemy does not run once you've hit them with your E and then your Q, what I find is here you should really be looking to hit your W and then start working away at their health if possible. Obviously they might be looking at gank you there, so you need to be careful, but I tend to start working away on them with my W on, so you're getting healed and also you're doing a little bit of damage. You can hit your E, and you know, at this point you can maybe get a kill. If not, just punish them a bit and then go back to farming, and just using a grinding away at their health is kind of the technique I use before you start going for the kills. And I find that working away on their health a bit by throwing your axe and using your E is the best to go about this before picking up your kills. And also, if you're working with a jungler, it can be really good because you can wear the enemy's health down, which is going to in the end help your jungler gain kills and help you get kills as well. So using this, you're going to use the build that I'll specify at the end of the video, and this tends to be a really strong build. And if you can use top as an advantage, obviously you're going to have the level advantage and you're going to have the kills advantage, and using the build, it's just going to be all right destruction. And in some of my games, you know, I can go like a whole game with just getting like maybe like 1 to a maximum of about 4 deaths, just depending on how long the game goes on for. But top lane can be extremely strong, and if you already have experience with top lane, Olaf has got to be the champion for you, because he is extremely strong. If you are getting, you know, just grinding away at your opponent's health, just knowing when to burst and knowing when to back off because a gank might be coming is the strongest attribute you can have to being a top laner. So in summary, when you're on top lane, you're just going to be wearing down your opponent's health, and then generally just taking, you know, the next step to trying to get them kills. But remember that you are trying to get farmed and get a bit of level, so you don't want to risk getting yourself killed for no reason. So just grind away at your opponent's health, and you should be able to be successful with Olaf, using your jungler to help you, but also knowing when to use your different abilities to go on and push for them kills. I found I get to a turret that you should not be attacking the turret. I just go straight for the minions, and when you've killed all the minions that the other team has to offer for that wave, then start to work on your turret, because you get a little bit more farm, and also find that it puts more pressure on you as a top laner when the enemy's turret is down to, you know, be a bit more successful, because it is harder. It gives a lot more opportunities of a gank to the enemy jungler if you're a little bit more further up that lane than it does when you're just in the normal laning phase. Now, taking the techniques that you already use for Olaf's solo top, you're going to be able to use this in a dual lane with a partner. You can use your different abilities to grind down the enemy's health, and then use that as the benefit to your partner to maybe push for one champion, and when one champion's already down, you're going to be able to use this to kill the other champion. He can be good, but also he can be bad in this type of laning situation. If you're against a ranged champion, he can be very overwhelmed, and I would not recommend using Olaf if you're against 2 ranged champions, unless you're feeling very confident. But I find that if you're against 2 ranged champions, it's too overwhelmed and you can do nothing about it. And if you're not getting a decent farm, or at least a few kills at the start, you're going to get very focused, and you will have no chance of being a successful player later on in the game when it starts getting down to the nitty gritty in your team fights, because you'll just get focused and you'll get annihilated by the other team. So the best way to avoid this is make your own decision to if you can deal with the enemy's team, or if you're wanting to play Olaf, I'd recommend you playing as a top lane or as a jungler, and this is the best way to play Olaf, I find, with personal experience. Now, covering the build you're going to take for Olaf, I'm going to cover the items you're going to need, the runes and the masteries. So I'm going to start with the in-game items you're going to be buying when you are playing Olaf. I start with boots and 3 potions. Like I said, you're going to use this to run to your opponents, and also it helps with a little bit of speed if you're running from also ganks. And the 3 potions are going to help with the health you're going to be using when you're using your E. I then go for Ninja Tabi boots and a Wriggles Lantern. I'll explain why I use the Wriggles Lantern in a moment. You're then going to progress onto Warmogs Armour. The Warmogs Armour requires that you're going to be killing a lot of minions and also getting kills to increase your health over time. So Wriggles Lantern giving the extra damage to minions when you're hitting them is going to allow you to faster gain health throughout the game, and this is why I take it you also get a little bit of armor and a little bit of vamp, since you're not going to get vamp until later on in the build. You're going to move on to an Atmas Impayler, and an Atmas Impayler is going to take the health you are gaining, coupled with the Wriggles Lantern as well, and you're going to get more health, which means you're going to get more attack damage, which just makes the build of Olaf snowball as the game gets later on. Move from the Atmas Impayler onto the Force of Nature, which is going to give you a decent amount of resistance towards AP champions. Move on to a Bloodthirster, which is a decent amount of attack damage, and also a little bit of vamp, so you're going to be hitting people hard, and you're also going to be healing as well, and this is going to work with your W as well so well. And then I find you can build a frozen mallet because it gives you a bit of health, it slows your opponents down, and you also get a bit of damage. I find that if you're going to get to this point, it's going to be about 50 minutes to an hour long in the matches. So it's an expensive build, but it can be extremely effective, and using the runes and the masteries, which I'll move into a second, it can be used so effective. The runes I use are Armour Penetration marks, Armour per level seals, flat health glyphs, physical damage quintessences, or you can use health quintessences. I find that this is extremely durable and also damage worthy rune setup, that it can be good early game, and also it's going to help a little bit in the late game because you're getting durability, a little bit of damage, and also with the health or the physical damage you can tip it either way, just deciding which you're lacking, either the durability or the damage. It's just up to you and your playstyle really. Now when I was developing the masteries for Olaf, you'll find that when you look at the mastery tree there was a lot of masteries to be doing with durability at the top, and you're also going to be speccing mostly into the attack and damage side of the tree. So I got 2190, picking up some of the armor and health from the middle tree, but taking more of the attack damage and physical damage from the left hand side of the tree. So using these masteries, I find that it is extremely effective. Coupled with the build and the runes, it's really overwhelming to me how powerful Olaf can be. I think he is rather overpowered in the middle game if the enemy don't control you very well at all. And different techniques in the team fights can really make him effective to what you either want to do. I tend to use him as kind of like an off tanky and trying to get kills type of champion compared to using him as a tank. He is extremely effective as a tank, and this build will be decent as a tank as well. Now I'm going to discuss different techniques you can use when it comes to team fights. When it comes to team fights, I tend to use him in this type of trend. The team might be going on, you can either turn up late and do a ton of damage, you can throw your axe in first, hit your E on the lowest health player, or the player you're focusing, and that's going to do an extreme amount of damage because it is true damage, and they can't do anything about the damage that you're putting out either. You're going to hit your W when you're trying to get some health back, and also if you're getting a lot of CC, what I tend to do is, if you're going in at the start of a team fight, I run straight into them, do a little bit of damage, I'll then hit my ultimate, which allows no CC, and then also now you get increased armor and increased magic resistance. So I get out of there, then when the team think that you're going to get away and they can't really kill you, they'll turn to someone else in your team. But what I do at that point, which can be just a few seconds of them turning away, I'll go straight into the team fight. 9 out of 10 of times manage to put out a lot of damage, and we tend to win the team fight. Now some people may think that you are bailing on your team. I don't really see it like that. If you run out because you think you're being focused, and I find that playing Olaf, he does get focused quite a bit, so you will need to watch out for that. You can run out and then just run straight back in, and this seems to be the best technique for me when I am using it. But if you're looking to be more of a tanky champion, obviously you might have to adjust the build just a little bit, but you can just run straight in, put your all damage out, and then since you get the increased armor and magic resistance, you can be quite a tanky champion using the build. But I would say if you're going to be a tank, replace the Bloodthirster with a Guardian Angel, or get the Guardian Angel and then go for the Bloodthirster. Just depends on your personal preference. But using this kind of technique I find is extremely effective in team fights, and also one-on-one, because obviously you're going to be you know, searching for people, and maybe you're just walking about or heading to a certain location and you might find an enemy. Using this build, you're going to be able to catch them out, because people, I don't know why, but people seem to think that Olaf is extremely weak 1v1, but you know, the lower you get his health, the faster he's going to regenerate health for one, and the faster he's going to be hitting you. So the only real person I tend to struggle with against is really people that tend to CC you a lot. But I find Fiora is extremely hard to be against, because when she's hitting her ultimate, you can't do anything about the damage she's putting out, so therefore you can't really heal as effectively. So if you're against a champion which can CC a lot, you might struggle, but if you're able to just hit your ultimate on some of them, and that seems to be the best techniques that I have for Olaf. Now if you have any questions about what I've said in the guide, please feel free to leave a question in the comments and I'll get straight back to you as soon as I can. I would like to know what you guys think about the video, so if you could leave a like or dislike, and maybe a comment to what you liked about it or what you didn't like about it, and then also I know what I'm doing wrong and I can use them in my next guides as well. And if you could also favourite the video if it has helped you out. I've done my best to get the best content I can, and also be releasing other Olaf related, well, not guides but similar updates on Olaf and little montages and things like that, so look at my channel for that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I do similar guides, also League of Legends content, different techie bits and things like that, so check out my channel and subscribe if you already haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video.
Till they take my heart away, till they take my heart away, till they take my heart away, till they take my heart away.